Hey movers and shakers, how you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the 7-Figure Moving Academy. Let me ask you this question. What if I were to tell you there's a very simple 3-element formula that is a proven success formula, that if you follow this formula that you can achieve a success, but it's missing one vital ingredient? If I were to show you what that formula was and give you that extra ingredient, would you be interested? Of course you would. So let's get into it. Let's go over what this formula is. It's quite simply the be, the do, and the have formula. So there is this formula, and you could go and check this out on YouTube, called the be, do, have. Some people write it as be times do equals have. But that's not really correct either, right? Although it is workable, it is not the correct thing. So quite honestly, it's be equals do equals have, and then it equals this one final ingredient, right? So let's just go over this formula in the first place, just to give you a good synopsis of what the be is, right? All right, so we've got, first of all, be you could also say be is start, right? That's another one that's part of the be. Do is change, right? And then have is result. So you start a project, you change it, you do the action, which is another word for this, right? Start, action, result, right? And that's basically what this is. But be stands for beingness, right? Beingness. So you've got to adopt or assume a personality. You got to assume a mindset of a certain thing. So for instance, if you want to build homes, right, you've got to assume the beingness of a contractor or a home builder, right? So you got to assume that. If you want to be a chiropractor, you've got to assume the mindset that you are a contractor. And a lot of people, when they start a business, they don't assume the mindset of that particular function, right? So that's the first thing you got to do, is you got to assume it. A lot of people actually make the mistake when they're using the be, do, have formula, that it starts off with have, then do, then you can be, right? I gotta have something, then I can do. So in regards, basically what this means is a lot of people, especially the small-minded job people, they think they gotta have money, they gotta have prestige, they gotta have privilege, they gotta have something, right? Then they can do something. Right? Well, if I want to be like the Kardashians, and I've never seen a show of the Kardashians, I just know who they are. You got to be living on a rock if you don't know who the Kardashians are. But they're billionaires, and Mama Kardashian is a really smart cookie. She's created $1 billion industry based on glamour and looks and, well, sex tapes. Right? But they've got this haviness, right? And everybody, all these little girls who want to be like the Kardashians, think that they got to have before they can do, so that they can be the Kardashians. And that's the wrong formula. That's the wrong sequence. It's be, then do, then have, right? And that is the correct way. That's the correct sequence of this formula. That's why you got to start off with the beingness. Even though, you've heard this thing called fake it till you make it. Well, that's not necessarily true, but you do have to assume the identity or the beingness of whatever you want to do. I don't want you to fake it till you make it, because that's just an incorrect concept that has never worked in the history of mankind, even though there will be people on this video that will swear by it. But yeah, they've been faking it for a long time and they still haven't made it. So, the empirical proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So you got to assume a beingness. So if you want to start a moving business, you got to assume yourself as a moving company owner. If you want to start a laundromat, you've got to assume the beingness, the identity of a laundromat business owner, right? So you just got to assume it. Then you're going to start the activity. So you're going to put the plan into action, if you will. And then you're going to be doing the actions. Okay, so now you've assumed yourself as a business owner. Now you're going to go out and you're going to start putting a plan in place. You're going to start doing the steps of the plan. You're going to start the activity. You're going to start changing things, right? You might not need money. You might not have money. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to probably call me up because I could help you get business financing of $50,000, $100,000, even up to $1 million if you start a moving company. So just leave me a note or send me a little email to sevenfiguremovingacademy@gmail.com and I can help you work that out. That's my little plug for that. But you can start off with getting finances, and that's one action. So you start building your business credit, right? You start finding investors. You start finding people that will help you get this done. Maybe it's maybe you've got the money and the financing, but maybe the first step is to hire somebody, to find somebody to do the work for you. And maybe it's getting licensing, insurance. There's a lot of doing thises in this step. So the do stands for doing this, which just translates to mean you're doing the actions of the business owner or the idea that the identity that you've taken on to assume. So if you want to be a concert pianist, well, you got to assume the identity of a concert pianist, and then you got to do the actions of a concert pianist, which means play the piano and, learn the songs and practice and practice and practice. And that's how you can assume. And then finally, what you're going to do is you're going to have the have. The havingness is what this stands for. Havingness. It's the condition of having. Ness means condition of. So the suffix ness means the condition of. So you're the condition of being, the condition of doing, and the condition of having. So the havingness is the result. So you assumed yourself the identity of a concert pianist. You did the actions. You practiced. You learned the songs. You composed your own symphonies or whatever. Now you're going to have the havingness of knowing the songs and so on and so forth. So you can actually play the piano. You could do the boogie woogie, the swings, or whatever you want to do with the concert piano. Or in the case of a moving company owner, you assume the beingness of the moving company. You started doing the actions, and now you got a moving company. Great, you've got a moving company. Awesome. That's amazing. I applaud you for that. But then there's the one last ingredient that almost everyone, matter of fact, everyone but me. I'm the only one smart enough to have figured this out. No, I'm not. But I'm the only one who's out there actually telling you this one missing ingredient. And that's what this stands for. What is this ingredient? Well, I'm going to tell you. This missing ingredient is exchange. That's right. Exchange. You can have the beingness, you can do the doingnesses, and you can have the havingness. But if you're not exchanging that service, you're not exchanging that product, you're not exchanging that art with someone or something outside of you or outside of your influence, you've got nothing. You really don't have any havingness whatsoever. You must exchange. If you want to get rich, you want to start a business and get rich with the business, you don the beingness, you do the doingness, you have the business. But if you're not exchanging that service or product, you don't have anything. Eventually, you just don't have anything, right? You could be a mover. You say, okay, I'm a mover. You start doing the moving. Awesome. You do a move. Now you have the havingness. You have the havingness of done the move, right? And you've got money. You got money from it. But what's the exchange? Well, the exchange is the service in itself, right? The exchange was that money coming from that person to you. That's one part of exchanging, yes. And that could be part of haviness. But the part is if it's not successful. But if that exchange is piss poor, right, and you did a bad job, you're not going to be able to do further jobs in the future, right? If your laundromat is dirty and filthy, yes, you've got the haviness of having the laundromat, but no one wants to come. There's no exchange with the community or the society at large, right? There's no exchange to have that. Yes, you can have the building, you can have the machines, you can have the soaps and everything there, but if it's filthy and the people who work there are grumpy and ornery and angry all the time, you know, they look like they just stepped out of a meth lab. No one's going to want to exchange with your business. No one's going to come. You're going to actually repel people. And that is the missing ingredient. You have to exchange. So the success formula, if you really want to get technical, is be times do times have equals exchange. Or more, really quite honestly, it's going to be more like this. It's going to be be times do times exchange equals haviness. Right? Because exchange is the one thing that is missing in the formula. So be times do times exchange equals haviness. And that's why this is the missing ingredient of the be, do, have success formula, the ultimate success formula. Tony Robbins has the ultimate success formula, but he doesn't talk to you about the exchange of it all. Yeah, he gives you great motivation to have the beingness, right? That might get you motivated to do more doingness so that you can have more haviness. But if you can't exchange that haviness with something, then it's all for naught. And that is the missing ingredient. And hopefully you guys get the idea of this magical formula, because this magical formula, if done right, will create wonders for you, will create worlds of opportunity and privilege for you. You can live that 4-hour work week as it's written in Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Yes, you can live this, but you've got to have this formula down in place. Part of doing this, right, is creating systems and processes. I wrote that very quickly, but you get the idea. Systems and processes is part of the doing this, right? So that you can have this haviness. But again, there's got to be this element which is missing in this formula of exchange. Exchange is key. And there is four models of exchange. There's bad exchange, right? Let's go over this. The first one is bad exchange. Right? Bad exchange basically means that the service was bad, the product is bad, that you basically took advantage of the person and you created a bad concept in the person's mind. So that's the first one. The second one is no exchange, which no exchange is basically that. There is no exchange. And that's what most people doing this formula have, is a no exchange. Right? There's no exchange whatsoever. So even though you might have a haviness of, let's say, a laundromat owner or a car owner, you got a car, awesome. What are you going to do with that car? That car is a liability. It's not an asset, right? So there's a no exchange. 3, then there's fair exchange, right? Fair exchange means apples to apples, oranges to oranges. I do this, you give me this. It's a fair exchange, and this is where most businesses lie, right here. This is where most businesses lie, is in the fair exchange mode. They go, my service is X amount, you pay me the X amount, I do what I say I'm going to do. That's a fair exchange. Then there is number 4, abundance. Right? Exchange in abundance. That means you're given more than what you're being given, right? That doesn't mean you give free service. Although that can mean that, but that's not necessarily what it means. It just means you're giving more than what is expected. That's exchange over the fair exchange. So you've got your fair exchange, but you're going to give over and on top, above even that. And that is exchange in abundance. And if you can do exchange in abundance, as be do have is a done deal. You will knock out your competitors. There will be nobody that can go further than you. And that is where you need to reside in, is realizing that exchange is key. It's like a communication. Exchange is communication, in fact, right? So do you want to have people think good of you? When you're communicating, you're going to say nice and flowery and positive words to somebody. And that's that exchange, that communication thing. It will make, if you do exchange in abundance, that person will leave thinking, wow, this guy's such a great guy. I feel so good. You make that person feel good, right? That. Or if you could just have a fair exchange, like, hi, how you doing? Fair exchange, right? In the communication world. Exchange is communication, and communication is the universal solvent. So get your exchange in, right? And you will have the universal solvent. You will become rich beyond your means. You'll have the luxuries and everything that you want. It takes work. It does take doing this. It doesn't just come easy. Well, to some people it does, but for the most part, it takes work. It takes you actually doing some, practicing some, reading books, going to seminars, investing in your business. I can't tell you how many people who come to my 7-Figure Moving Academy pay $49 and want all this free stuff, which I'm happy to give. I'm happy to give, free information and stuff. But there's got to be that exchange flow back for me to really be motivated to want. Where's your exchange in abundance to me? I give you exchange in abundance. You should give me exchange in abundance, right? That's only fair. And then it becomes fair. And then we have to up a notch, and we got to keep going up and up and up. And that's how we have a society that increases and expands collectively, is through exchange and then communication. If I give you exchange in abundance, right? And then you start giving me exchange in abundance, and now becomes fair exchange, right? And then that means I have to increase my stuff to give more abundance to you. Then you're going to increase your abundance, and that's how we solve the world. Communication is the universal solvent. Let's work on this. And the Be Do Have exchange formula is not only a business formula, a success formula for business, it's a success formula for life. Hopefully you guys got a little bit something out of this video. Hopefully, I didn't want to get too philosophical, but I did want to give you this method because it is so important, and so many people miss the opportunities they have when they do not understand this concept. So guys, thank you. I like you. I love you. Go out and do something great.